So welcome back to sunny Miami Beach. On today's video, we're gonna be discussing what would be the ultimate two-watch collection if you had to choose from only Rolex. So before we get into this, the first thing I wanna say is hit that subscribe link right now so you don't miss any more videos. Now, obviously there's many brands out there that we can choose from, and at some point, we're gonna go over that if you were gonna build a two-watch collection and you were gonna integrate other brands. But it can get very complicated, and for some of you at home that are starting out and are honed in on Rolex, because a lot of people do start with Rolex. I'm not saying that's their first watch ever. What I'm saying is a lot of people end up saying, I want to finally get that Rolex and start buying Rolex. But most people end up starting off their higher end collection with Rolex. It's kind of the brand that a lot of people gravitate, especially when you're starting. Not just everybody ends up starting right off the bat with a Richard Mille or a MB&F or FP Journe. That's kind of something you have to graduate into. But someone like me that's been collecting watches for a while and has several watches, many watches actually, you start to wonder, do I really need 15, 20, 30, 40 watches and beyond? I kind of feel that a lot of times I end up wearing the same two. Okay, fine, maybe 3 or 4 for me. But the reality is that 2 watches is maybe all you really need to have a well-rounded collection. Now those 2 watches have to serve 2 different purposes, and that's what we're gonna go over. Okay, so this was actually very difficult because I really thought about it, and I thought, what would be if I only had to choose 2 Rolexes for the rest of my life to wear, which ones would it be? And it actually was a lot more difficult than I thought. We're gonna get into the differences in budget, which also fluctuates as well. That's also gonna change this determination. But the first one that I would like to start with is the stainless steel Submariner. I feel that the stainless steel Submariner is one of the most important watches to have if you're into Rolex. Believe it or not, some guys are not that sporty. They're more office guys or whatever their lifestyle is, and they kind of tend to lean more towards the Datejust. But I feel that the Submariner is one of the most important watches to have. See, if I laid it out very simple like this is the way I would lay it out. If you were starting off and you were kind of in the lower brackets of the collection, whether it's money-wise or maybe just preference, maybe you don't want to lay out so much cash on watches, you know? Nothing wrong with that. You might have all the money in the world, but you just don't feel like spending that much money on watches. Understood. I would say that the perfect setup would be a steel Submariner and a Datejust. Now, the twist there for me is that I love the Daytona. And on one hand, I always thought, it took me a while to really think about this because I said, well, maybe the ideal collection would be a Sub and a Daytona because I love the Daytona so much. The problem there is that then you would have 2 sports watches. And having the Daytona to replace the Submariner is a little bit tricky because I feel that the Sub is that watch that you could do so much more with it. I mean, it could take a lot more abuse, whereas the Daytona, I find it to be a bit more of a delicate watch. I've always thought the Daytona is like that perfect blend of sporty, but a lot more casual. I don't know if that makes any sense, but that's kind of the way I feel. So I would say that if you're in the lower part of the bracket or the beginner part of the bracket, or just say stage 1 budget spending, okay? I would say the stainless steel Sub and a Datejust would be the perfect combination. Whatever Datejust you want to get, whether it's all steel, whether it's two-tone, whether it's Oyster, whether it's Jubilee, that's personal preference. But I feel that 1 sporty and 1 dressy is ideal. And I want to use that term dressy very loosely because obviously the Datejust is not a Calatrava on a leather strap. We're talking about something that you can really get the most bang out of. I was going over this with a friend of mine and he was like, well, why not like a Yachtmaster or why not like something like a GMT? And I said, well, because I think that would be very redundant. It'd be redundant to have 2 sports models. If I was only gonna have 2, it would be 2 complete opposites. Now, if you were on the higher end of the spending budget for this 2-watch Rolex collection, again, I would say it would be a gold Submariner. Again, back to the Submariner, because I feel like that's home base when it comes to Rolex, and that's my opinion. It's experience. I've experienced it, or maybe I'm just biased because I love subs. And number 2 would be a gold Day-Date. I feel that right there you have the best of both worlds. There's nothing you cannot do, or there's not a single situation that you would be watchless or that you wouldn't have a ideal watch to wear, okay? Again, I think that that would be the best rounding out of a 2-watch collection. Some guys would maybe say, well, maybe I'd replace the Sky Dweller for a Day-Date. You could, except I feel that the Sky Dweller is like a mixture of like, it's a dressy watch, but it's not. It's like, it's a little bit too casual. I don't know. I think that the Day-Date with the presidential bracelet is the way to go. I think that it makes it two complete opposites. Now, I'm gonna throw in a twist here, okay? If you were to have that ultimate 2-watch collection in gold, okay, on the higher tier, one of the problems that I see is that you're still gonna want to have a stainless steel sub, because at times, the gold sub might be too much. Do I wear my gold sub? I think I wear my gold sub more than any other of my gold watches total. I feel like it gets the most wrist time and the most scratches as well, but that's what I bought it for. But if you really want to talk practical, I would think that the most practical variation of this 2-watch Rolex collection would be a stainless steel sub and a gold Day-Date, because I feel that you're right in the middle. You have a gold Day-Date, so when you want to wear something heavy duty, you know, you want to have a gold piece, you want something with presence, you want something that makes a statement. And then you have a steel sub that you can wear for absolutely everything. At times, a gold watch is too much. Some of you at home that are maybe starting off or have that gold grail piece in your head, and you think, man, you know, if I got that gold watch, I would just rock it till the wheels fall off. Indeed, I agree with that and I encourage it. But once you have gold watches and you wear them enough, you realize that there's certain situations or settings where the gold is a little bit too much. You know, maybe you don't want to make so much of a statement. Depending on the circles that you're in or the setting that you will be attending, maybe that gold watch is a little bit too much, or maybe that gold watch is sending the wrong message. That's why I feel that the perfect balance of a 2-watch Rolex collection would be a steel sub and a gold Day-Date. Now guys, listen, none of this is taken as gospel. This is kind of just my opinion, just to have some fun with this topic. Yes, of course, there could be some changes in there. You could replace that sub for the Daytona or vice versa. You could replace a gold Daytona for the Day-Date as well. That would work. But you kind of understand my point. If I was gonna have 2 watches, I'd have something dressy and I'd have something sporty. But most importantly, I want something that I can use and I can go to one or the other depending on the situation. And those selections also reflect my lifestyle. With my lifestyle and my hobbies and my interests, I would benefit more having a sports model as the stainless steel watch that I can wear more often, whereas maybe some of you guys are the complete opposite. Maybe your daily watch should be a Datejust in stainless steel. And then for the gold piece would be a sports model. But for me, I still think that the sub and a Day-Date reign supreme. So in reality, there's no wrong answer to this topic, but comment below what you think would be your ultimate 2-watch Rolex combination. And if you like this video, like and share it. Also, hit right now that subscribe button, and don't forget,